the Southern Ohio Farm Show. This is Gigi Neal of OSU Extension in Claremont County, Agricultural and Natural Resources Educator.
I'm James Morris, the Agricultural and Natural Resources and Community Development Educator for the Ohio State University Extension in Brown County.
And I'm Brooke Beam, the Ohio State University Extension Educator for Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Community Development in Highland County. And we will be your hosts for the Southern Ohio Farm Show. Welcome to the Southern Ohio Farm Show for our Halloween edition. We'll start off by showing some pumpkins that have been carved by community members. We're also going to show some places that you can see this Halloween while social distancing. We'll learn about the bats of Ohio. We have a weather update with Aaron Wilson. We have some information about cover crops with Richard Purdin, and also more information about various trees of Ohio with Dave Apsley. And also remember to go vote this week.
Well, a good day, everybody. This is Aaron Wilson, OSU Extension climatologist, here with this week's Southern Ohio Farm Show weather update. So yeah, this is a nice photo from Dave Apsley, OSU Extension. Beautiful photo showing some frost and freeze conditions that we had a couple of weeks ago, even across Southern Ohio, maybe a week or so early for this part of the state, but something certainly we were anticipating as we head through the month of October. It has been a little bit warmer of late. Temperatures have been up close to 80 or even above 80 a couple of days last week. So temperatures have been running about 3 to 6, maybe 7 or 8 degrees above average across the southern counties of Ohio over the last 7 days. And over the last 30 days, temperatures have been running anywhere from a degree or two above average to as much as 4 degrees above average. Mostly in the overnight lows. Last couple days, things have been pretty chilly, kind of cool out there with those cloudy skies and scattered showers. But overall, it has been a little bit warmer over the last 30 days. We also have been a bit wetter over the last, I would say, 7 to 30 days as well. Certainly, we had a nice dry spell there, and we're still running a little bit below average for many of our counties, as you see here on the right-hand side. Running anywhere from 70 to 100% of normal. But certainly we've seen far more showers of late than we were seeing through much of the month of September, which was quite dry across the region. Now, unfortunately, we've got another hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico this week, Hurricane Zeta. This ties 2005 for the most active season on record. And it looks like it will be our 11th hurricane. And certainly another storm to make landfall. A lot of moisture from Zeta is going to be pulled up into the region this week. And we are looking at from Wednesday night tonight through Friday morning, anywhere between 2 and 4 inches of rain across many of our southern counties here. So it's going to be quite wet, especially on Thursday, highs mainly in the 50s tomorrow, with very heavy rainfall from time to time. Again, looking at 2 to 4 inches of rain. Now, as we head into the late day Friday, I think things start to clear out. Temperatures will be cool, falling through the 40s and into the 30s Friday night. And then again on Saturday evening, drier conditions setting in. But for those trick-or-treaters out there, it's going to be a bit chilly Friday and Saturday night. As we look ahead to the first week or 10 days of November, it does look like conditions will turn a little bit warmer, stay a little bit warmer than average. We have a slightly higher probability of that. And we do look like we're going to have extended dry period for the first part of November so that we can start to dry out a bit. We can start to get the corn in out of the fields for sure and wrap up harvest season, hopefully before Thanksgiving for many of you. So we'll pay attention to this, but it certainly looks like precipitation will be a bit below average for this period and keep things a little bit drier than average, which would be good for all of our farmers out there across Southern Ohio. So until next time, please have a great week. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time on the Southern Ohio Farm Show. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Melissa Profit, and I am the Education and Communications Specialist for the Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District. In this video, part of the All About Bats video series, we will learn about the different species of bats that live in Ohio. Across the globe, there are over 1,250 species of bats. These bats can be divided into 2 groups: megabats, the large fruit-eating bats, and microbats, smaller bats that eat insects, blood, nectar, and small animals. In Ohio, we have 10 known species of microbats. 4 of these species are migrators, so they leave during the colder winter months. We can see these species during the spring and summer. These species include the red bat, evening bat, silver-haired bat, and hoary bat. We also have 6 year-long resident species. These species hibernate during the winter right here in Ohio. These species include the big brown bat, little brown bat, tricolored bat, northern long-eared bat, small-footed bat, and the Indiana bat. The Indiana bat has been a federally listed endangered species since 1967. Populations of this species have been declining because of reductions in available habitat, along with other pressures on the species. Indiana bats have a dull gray-brown fur and a keel on their calcar, the cartilage near the tail. As a colonial species, they form large summer maternity colonies roosting in larger trees and forests. In the winter, this species will go to a hibernaculum, usually a cave or a mine, that provides stable temperatures just above freezing. Let's meet some of the other Chiroptera of Ohio. Fun fact, the order Chiroptera means hand-wing, as bats are our only flying mammal. Another resident species here in Ohio is the little brown bat. Little brown bats can be identified by their sleek, glossy brown fur, ranging from dark brown to reddish brown on their back, with slightly paler underside. The muzzle is furred, and the ears are relatively short, with a blunt tragus, the prominence on the middle of the external ear. Hairs on the toes extend beyond the claws, and there is no calcar, which distinguishes this species from the Indiana bat. This species also forms large maternity colonies that roost in trees, bat boxes, barns, and buildings during the summer. In the winter, they will find a hibernaculum to spend the cold winter months. Little brown bats used to be very common across our state, but sadly, due to habitat loss and pressures from white nose syndrome, a fungal disease affecting our bat species, little brown bats are now classified as state endangered. Another resident bat species is the big brown bat, so named because they are slightly larger in size than the little brown bat. Big brown bats are uniformly light to dark brown on the upper parts, with slightly paler underparts. The fur is relatively long and silky, and the muzzle is not furred. The ears and wing membranes are black. Big brown bats have relatively large heads with shorter, rounded ears compared to other bats. In the summer, big brown bats are found in a variety of habitats, including fields, forest openings, urban and suburban areas, and around water. In the winter, big brown bats hibernate in caves, mines, and even attics. Big brown bats are the second largest species of bat in Ohio and are one of the most commonly seen bats because they come out earlier than other species in the evening. Formerly known as the eastern pipistrelle, tricolored bats are the smallest bat in the Midwest. The fur has 3 distinct color bands, with the base being the darkest color, then the lightest shade, and the tip being the middle shade. Overall, color varies from a pale yellowish brown to a dark reddish brown. The forearms are distinctly pinkish, and the wing membrane is black. Tricolored bats prefer open forests near water in the summer. This species hibernates in mines, caves, and rock crevices during the winter. As Ohio's smallest bat, tricolored bats can be mistaken in flight for a large moth. This species is also classified as state endangered. The eastern small-footed bat is another small Ohio bat species with brownish fur, a black facial mask, small black ears, a keeled calcar, and a tiny foot measuring 6 to 8 millimeters, hence their name. In the summer, this species is thought to favor rocky, hilly, or even mountainous areas. In the winter, they hibernate in mines and caves, generally near the entrance where the temperatures are colder. The northern long-eared bat gets its name from their slightly larger ears, which extend just beyond the tip of the nose when laid forward. Northern long-eared bats have fur similar to little brown bats, but with less variation in the tones of brown. In the summer, northern long-eared bats inhabit forests and woodlands with smaller maternity roosts. In the wintertime, they will hibernate in caves or mines. Like many of our other bat species, northern long-eared bat populations have decreased because of habitat loss and white nose syndrome, and they also are state endangered. Now let's meet our migrating bats. Silver-haired bats are medium-sized bats with black fur that has white tips, giving it a frosted appearance. The ears and wing membranes are black. In the summer, silver-haired bats are found in mature forests with a water source nearby. In the winter, this species migrates to find trees and rock crevices farther south. In fact, silver-haired bats are one of the slower flying bats in Ohio because their wing morphology is adapted to long-distance migration. This is a solitary species, and not much is known about their reproduction in Ohio, though they are thought to produce 2 young each year. The eastern red bat gets its name from its reddish-colored fur. Males are bright red in color, and females are usually a yellowish red. Dense, soft fur covers the body, including the uropatagium, the skin connecting the legs and tail. Red bats roost among the foliage in forests, forest edges, hedgerows, or in tree bark. Often this species roosts near the ground and move their location every couple of days. In the winter, the species migrates in large groups south. As the most colorful Ohio bat, they may be seen foraging high over trees at dark during our summer months. The evening bat is the only bat in the United States belonging to the Nycticias genus, which means belongs to the night. This medium-sized bat looks like a smaller version of the big brown bat. The hairs on its back are a bronze brown, whereas the hair on its underside are slightly lighter. The muzzle is hairless and black. Evening bats prefer forest roosting in large colonies to raise pups and forage in open habitats in the summer. In the winter, this species migrates to southern United States and even further south to hibernate. And finally, let's meet Ohio's largest bat, the hoary bat. This species has dark fur with white tips, giving it a similar frosted appearance to the silver-haired bat. The hoary has full, soft fur all over its body, including its uropatagium. The head of this bat is large with short, rounded ears with distinct black borders. The throat fur is lighter yellowish, and the wrists and shoulders have whitish fur. As Ohio's largest bat, the wingspan of hoary bats is 12 to 13 inches. We are very fortunate here in Ohio to have such a diversity of microbat species. Bats are wonderful organisms that do a lot of good for us here in Ohio. So the next time that you're out at dusk, keep your eyes to the sky for these brilliant flying mammals.
Hello, this is Richard Purdin with OSU Extension for Adams County, and we're located on a farm here in the south central part of Adams County, just south of West Union. The producer is grazing his cover crops. They were sown the second week of August, and he started grazing them this week. So 45 days or so of growth here that we're looking at. He sowed Austrian winter peas, oats, and turnips in this mixture. And right now, it's a 12-acre field, and he has allocated out about 2 acres worth of land to graze 50 cows, 40 yearlings weighing somewhere around 700 to 800 pounds, and 36 newborn calves that were born basically from May to September, their calving window. So basically what we're trying to demonstrate today is, you know, your different options that you can use cover crops for. He used Austrian winter peas and oats, and also turnips, because he's had experience with this mixture before and he's had great results. But there's also different mixtures that you can actually use in a setting like this also. So there's using some small grains. You could have added some rye, wheat into this mixture too, and also had a later season of grazing into the fall. That is one of the options that he might try and do after these cattle have grazed off the cover crops here. He might go in and sow a winter wheat or a cereal rye for later winter grazing or even early spring grazing. So some of the benefits of doing this is he has about 6 weeks or so of grazing here. During years where it might be a drier condition and producers might have to start feeding hay earlier, this producer will be lucky enough not to have to start feeding hay as soon as possible. Even though he does feed some dry hay with this grazing mix to help regulate the rumen of the animal and also just give that roughage to those animals, because most of these cover crops have a high moisture rating. So the Austrian winter peas and the turnips have a high amount of moisture, somewhere between 60 and 65% moisture. So he wants to make sure that he gets some good roughage in there to help compensate for all the moisture that's in those cover crops. So some of the other benefits to grazing cover crops is that not only does it extend that grazing period later into the fall season, but it's also really good for the soil. It's, as you can see, comparing to where they have actually not grazed to where they have grazed, they've actually incorporating the residue. They're not eating everything down to nothing, down to the soil. So the soil is still covered. It's not completely exposed, but they're incorporating the dead residue or the material that they do not eat into the soil. Also, the manure and urine is distributed throughout this area that he has lotted off. As you can see, he uses electric fence, one strand of polywire fence to keep the cattle contained, and they are quite pleased right now. They are not attempting to push on it or get through it. So once again, it is electrified, so that's keeping back a good amount of head of animals. So it can be done with little infrastructure. So if you have some areas on your farm or a field that has good perimeter fence, and you would like to do some grazing of cover crops. Of course, this had to have been planted in August, so now it's a little bit too late to do this kind of mixture. But think about next year. If you have a field that maybe is lower quality forage that needs to be turned over, or you have a field that could be taken out of row crops and put into cover crop production, this is definitely an option. So if you have any questions or have any ideas that you have on your own, just give me a call at 937-544-2339 and ask for me, and we can talk about it. And I got some good information on this I can give you too. So once again, if you have any information, don't hesitate to call and we'll get you that information. This is Richard Purdin from OSU Extension, and everybody have a great fall and happy grazing.
Hi. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you to a very unique tree. It occurs in many of our moist or mesic woodlands in Ohio. It's pawpaw. It's really known for this fruit, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's start with the leaves. Pawpaw leaves are simple and alternate, so you'll notice the leaves alternate sides. These simple leaves can be rather large. They can be up to 11 inches in length and as small as 5 inches in length. A unique characteristic of these leaves is that they're broader near the tip than they are at the base. Most trees' leaves are broader at the base than they are at the tip. So that's a little unique. Real dark green, beautiful foliage on pawpaw. Another really unique ID characteristic of pawpaw are these terminal buds. Terminal buds are the buds that occur on the tip of the twig. These are unique in that they're naked. There are only a few woody plants that have naked buds. What do I mean by naked? They're not covered. Most buds are covered by some kind of scales or coverings. With pawpaw, what you're actually looking at when you zoom in closely are next year's foliage. They're actually the leaves that are pre-formed, and when the growing conditions get right in the spring, they'll expand and become leaves. The unique thing about these buds, they're very velvety and hairy. They're typically a little darker brown than what we're seeing this year. These are almost a golden color. But if you look closely, you can see that they are next year's leaves. Further back on the twigs, we'll have some smaller buds, and then occasionally you're going to have these bigger rounded buds. These rounded buds are actually the flower buds that will form the flowers in the spring next year. They occur before the leaves occur, and so you'll have bare twigs with flowers hanging on them in the early spring. These flowers are dark in color with yellow centers. They're kind of a maroon or purplish color. They're actually pollinated by flies. They do occur very early in the spring, and some years they get hit by frost, making it pretty hard to find many pawpaws. This year we did have one of those late frosts, but fortunately some of the flowers made it through, and we do have some pawpaws on this tree. So what are pawpaws? There are these fruits that can be much larger than this actually, maybe twice that long and almost twice as big around. They tend to be in clusters up in the tree. When they ripen, they'll fall down, and wildlife love them. They'll go away pretty quickly. They do have relatively large, hard seeds, but the pulp of this pawpaw fruit is wonderful for making a variety of things. Probably most of you are familiar with pawpaw bread. You can make a banana type bread out of it, but you can make numerous other food products out of it. And the Pawpaw Festival that just occurred last weekend in Athens is a great place to go explore things like pawpaw colada and other pawpaw products. So again, this is pawpaw. It tends to be a clonal tree. It'll grow in clumps or clusters. It'll sprout from the roots and tends to spread out. If it's in too much dense shade, you typically don't get pawpaws that are produced. If it gets a little bit more shade, happens to be along an edge like this, you can produce these pawpaws. I'm looking forward to some of these becoming ripe so that we can try to make some pawpaw bread this year. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Southern Ohio Farm Show this week. We'll see you next week for another all-new episode. Have a great week